Have you ever stopped to wonder what a woman really feels when you're not around? Most of you assume she's simply waiting, missing you, or thinking about you endlessly. But the truth is far more complicated. And if you don't understand it, you'll lose control of the relationship without even realizing it. A woman's mind, when you're absent, reveals everything about her true attraction to you. This is where strength, self-respect, and masculine presence come into play. Because when you're not there, she isn't just thinking about your words, she's feeling the weight of your energy, your discipline, your impact on her life. If that impact is weak, she drifts. If it's strong, she respects and desires you even more. The ancient Stoics understood this principle. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily that people's loyalty is shaped not by what you say but by how you live. Seneca warned against needing constant validation, teaching that a man anchored in himself cannot be shaken by absence. That's what you must embrace, being so rooted in your values and mission that your absence speaks louder than your presence. If you're ready to understand this deeper, subscribe to this channel now. Open your mind and let's step into the first lesson. 1. She tests your value in absence. When you're not around, a woman begins to test, not by words, but by her actions, her thoughts, and the way she positions you in her mind. Absence becomes a stage where your value as a man is either proven or dismantled. A strong man understands that his presence should leave such an impression that his absence still commands respect. Think of it this way. If you are constantly available, constantly texting, constantly chasing, she never has the space to feel your worth. Instead, she feels your dependence. And dependence kills desire. When you step back, however, she begins to ask herself question. Why isn't he texting me? What is he doing? Who is he with? Is he focused on something bigger than me? That internal questioning is powerful because it flips the dynamic. You're no longer the one seeking validation. This is not a game. It is psychology. A woman wants to feel she has a man others admire, a man who holds himself to a standard beyond her. If your absence creates silence, but that silence is filled with your mission, your discipline, and your purpose, she feels it. She notices the difference between a needy man and a man of value. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." Your absence is the perfect arena to prove this. You don't need to argue your worth. You demonstrate it by your priorities. If your absence makes her respect you more, you are winning. If it makes her doubt you, then you've been living as a boy, not a man. 2. Absence creates the chase. Men often forget one of the oldest truths about attraction. People value what they must work for. When you are always present, always available, and always giving, you remove the challenge. You remove the mystery. A woman may like comfort, but desire is born out of pursuit, not certainty. Absence, when used with strength, ignites the chase. When she doesn't see you for a while, when you stop responding instantly, when your life seems full without her constant involvement, she starts to wonder. That wondering slowly turns into longing. Longing turns into desire. Suddenly she's reaching out first, Suddenly she's asking when she will see you. Suddenly she is investing effort. The Stoics understood this principle in all areas of life. Seneca wrote, "It is not the man who has too little but the man who craves more that is poor." If you crave her constant attention, you appear poor in spirit, needy, and dependent. But when you live with self-sufficiency, she craves you. You flip the balance of power. Consider the story of Alexander the Great. Even in conquest, he would disappear for weeks, retreating with his army, planning, leaving allies and even lovers in anticipation of his return. When he appeared again, his presence carried double the weight because absence had built demand. Modern men must reclaim this strategy. Instead of smothering her with constant messages and endless check-ins, focus on your craft, your health, your finances, your mission. Make her feel your absence not as neglect, but as an invitation to step closer, to seek you out, to chase. When a woman chases you, she invests. And when she invests, she bonds. That bond is far more powerful than anything you could buy her, text her, or say to her. 3. The power of silence. The power of silence. In a world where everyone talks too much, silence is the loudest weapon a man can use. Most men ruin attraction not because they lack looks, money, or charm, but because they cannot resist the urge to explain themselves, to justify their every action, or to seek constant validation from women. They overtalk, they overshare, they suffocate the mystery that fuels feminine desire. Silence, however, is presence without desperation. When you withhold unnecessary words, you project confidence. A man who is not afraid of silence shows that he is not afraid of being misunderstood. He is not scrambling for approval. He does not need her to agree with him to feel worthy. This unsettles her at first, but soon it draws her in. She starts to wonder what you're thinking. She starts to lean forward. She starts to chase not just your time, but your words. Think of Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher. In his meditations, he constantly reminded himself to observe more than he spoke, to act rather than to boast, to be disciplined in both thought and speech. Great leaders are not remembered for how much they talked, but for the weight of their words when they finally spoke. That's the same energy a man must bring into his relationship. When you practice the power of silence, you allow her emotions to work for you. Suppose you text her, she doesn't reply instantly, and you remain calm, unbothered. You don't double text. You don't chase. That silence forces her to question, did I lose his attention? Is he losing interest? Who else has it? Suddenly, she's emotionally invested, because your lack of reaction pulls her deeper. Even in arguments, silence is powerful. Instead of shouting, begging, or pleading, you remain composed. Women test men with their words, sometimes pushing to see if you will crack. But the man who knows when to pause, to let silence do the heavy lifting, shows strength. And strength is always attractive. History gives us endless examples. Napoleon Bonaparte, despite his fiery temper, often used silence strategically. When faced with opposition, he would pause, say nothing, and let the silence Pressure the other party into revealing more than they intended. In relationships, the same principle applies. Silence makes her reveal more. Silence forces her to fill the gap with her energy. Modern men need this lesson now more than ever. In dating, in business, and in life, words are cheap. Attention is expensive. When you stop wasting words, when you speak less and let your actions do the talking, you instantly separate yourself from the sea of men who try to impress women with endless chatter. Remember this: silence is not weakness. It is control. And the man who controls himself will always control the frame of the relationship. 4. The withdrawal test. When a woman pulls back, she's not always leaving. She's listening to the truth your actions whisper when you're not there to speak for yourself. That's the withdrawal test. Absence becomes a mirror that reflects who you really are without her gaze to prop you up. Do you collapse into anxiety, double texting, calling, explaining, begging? Or do you tighten your routine, deepen your mission, and let your silence communicate that your life is full, focused, and moving? Understand this clearly. Women feel the difference between a man who needs them to stabilize his emotions and a man whose emotions are governed by his values. One drains, the other draws. Seneca warned that we suffer more in imagination than reality. So when she steps back, is your imagination running you, or are you running your imagination? Her withdrawal pressures your frame the way heat tempers steel. If your identity is thin, it warps. If your identity is forged, it hardens. Ask yourself a ruthless question. If she didn't reply for 2 days, would your discipline improve or disappear? Most men fail this test because they fear the space. They rush to fill the silence with explanations and affection she hasn't earned. That robs your presence of value. The strongest move is counterintuitive. You give the distance the dignity it deserves. You stop performing. You stop pleading your case. You inhabit your standards. Marcus Aurelius wrote that the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Her distance isn't the end. It is an invitation to advance into training harder, executing cleaner, tightening your sleep, elevating your work, investing in your brotherhood and vision. When she looks back toward you, what does she see? Panic or progress? Modern example. When elite athletes hit a slump or get benched, the weak chase attention, the greats attack the fundamentals in the dark. Their return is undeniable because the work was real. That's the energy you must transmit in absence. Not noise, but evidence. And evidence needs no speech. Here's a mind-blowing question you probably haven't asked yourself. If a hidden camera followed you the moment she went cold, would the footage increase her respect or confirm her doubt? If the answer embarrasses you, good. Use it. Let the withdrawal test discipline you into a man whose baseline habits make you desirable whether she calls or not. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Master your impulses. If she withholds attention, you withhold reaction. If she delays effort, you delay reward. If she disrespects your time, you remove access to your time. Not in anger, in order. The paradox is brutal and beautiful. When you stop trying to control her, you Start controlling the only force that ever mattered, yourself. And self-control is the signal women feel, even when you're nowhere in the room. Pass the withdrawal test and your absence stops feeling like neglect and starts feeling like gravity. 5. Her silent tests of your strength. Men often wonder why women pull away, go silent, or suddenly shift their energy when everything seemed fine. What you must understand is that when you are not around, a woman does not only think about you, she also tests the image of you she holds in her mind. These silent tests are not about manipulation. They are about security, about knowing whether you truly are the man you claim to be when you stand in her presence. Let me ask you, if she remembers your words but cannot feel your actions, do those words still carry weight? In female psychology, consistency is one of the most powerful measures of masculine strength. When you are absent, she compares the way you treat her when you are present to the way she feels when you are gone. If the warmth, clarity, and confidence you project in person do not extend into her private moments, she begins to sense weakness. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." That statement is the foundation of every woman's silent test. She wants to see if you embody what you say you are, even when you are not there. To prove it, imagine two men, one who commands attention in public, but loses himself in doubt when unseen, and another who holds steady in his convictions, whether watched or ignored. Which man do you think remains in her thoughts with respect? Which man builds attraction without lifting a finger? The truth is, when you are not around, she replays every small inconsistency. Did you say you value discipline but skip your responsibility? Did you say you honor loyalty but entertain the attention of others? These contradictions are not hidden from her. They live in her intuition and they guide her perception of you more than your words ever will. A woman's silence is rarely empty. When she pulls back, she is watching. When she delays her response, she is measuring. When she creates distance, she is not trying to hurt you. She is evaluating whether you will collapse into neediness or rise into composure. This is where most men fail. They chase, they beg, they panic. But the man who understands female psychology does not react. He remains firm. He allows her the space to observe, because he knows that strength does not need to scream. It proves itself through calm. So I ask you this, if she withdrew from you tomorrow, would your identity remain unshaken or would you scramble for validation? Women can feel that difference without a word spoken. Epictetus reminded us, first say to yourself what you would be, then do what you have to do. This is what she tests when you are not around. Are you truly the man you say you are? Or do you only play the part when she is watching? If you understand this, you will stop fearing her silence. You will start to see it for what it is, the echo of your own character being reflected back to you. 6. The body language test. A woman's words can be deceptive, but her body language rarely lies. This is why high value men always pay more attention to what a woman does than to what she says. You can often tell if she's truly interested or simply entertaining you by reading the small unconscious signals she gives off when she's around you. When a woman is genuinely drawn to you, her body will naturally lean in closer. When you talk, her eyes will soften, her lips may part slightly, and she'll often mirror your movements without realizing it. If you cross your arms, she might do the same. If you take a sip of your drink, seconds later, she may do the same. This mirroring is her subconscious way of creating harmony between the two of you. On the other hand, if she consistently angles her body away, avoids eye contact, or creates physical distance, it's a strong indicator of the body language test. Disinterest. Another key body language cue is touch. Women who are invested in you will find subtle excuses to bridge the gap. A light touch on your arm, brushing something off your shirt, or playfully nudging you. All of these are her way of testing the waters. A woman who never initiates or responds to physical proximity is silently communicating that she wants to keep the interaction purely platonic. Pay attention to her feet as well. Strange as it sounds, feet often tell the truth before the mouth does. If her feet are pointed toward you in a group, it shows you're her focus. If they're turned away or toward the exit, it signals she'd rather be somewhere else. As a man navigating modern relationships, you must train yourself to watch actions, not just listen to words. Many men waste years chasing a woman who verbally entertains them, but whose body language has been screaming no from the start. The reality is, women are polite. Most won't outright reject you because they don't want unnecessary conflict. Instead, they rely on body language to show disinterest, hoping you'll pick up the signal. Great leaders throughout history mastered this ability. Julius Caesar, for instance, was famed not only for his military genius, but also for reading people. He could sense loyalty or betrayal before a word was spoken. In the same way, you must develop the ability to read the truth behind a woman's posture, eye contact, and gestures. The key is not to confront her about it or overanalyze every move, but to step back and evaluate patterns. If her body language consistently shows openness, warmth, and closeness, she's genuinely invested. If it shows tension, withdrawal, or distance, she's not. And as a high-value man, your time and energy should never be wasted trying to convince someone who's already shown you without saying a word that they're not interested. Woman's silent test. 7. The woman's silent tests of your absence. Every man needs to realize this. When you're not around, a woman doesn't just think about you. She also tests you in silence. These are not tests she plans with pen and paper, but deep, unconscious evaluations of your character and strength. Women instinctively test the strength of men, not always out of malice, but out of necessity. Why? Because history has shown that men who cannot endure, who cannot hold themselves together in the face of absence, fail not just their women, but themselves. Think about it. When Marcus Aurelius wrote in Meditations that you must be like the cliff against which the waves continually break, but it stands firm and tames the fury of the water around it. He was describing what women hope to see in men. When you're not around, a woman wonders, are you the cliff or are you the wave? Do you crumble in her absence, chasing validation, losing Or do you remain steady, rooted in purpose, unmoved by storms? Here's the truth many men don't want to hear. Absence creates an arena where her trust either strengthens or weakens. If she notices you're desperate, always seeking reassurance, blowing up her phone, or anxiously needing her attention, she silently marks it down in her mind, even if she never says it out loud. The test isn't about her wanting to catch you failing. It's about her needing to know if you can lead, if you can be relied upon, if you are the kind of man who holds his ground without constant hand-holding. That is why some men lose women without ever understanding why. It's not because of what happened when they were together. It's what she saw when he wasn't around. Let me ask you this. If you disappeared from her life for a week, not because of games, but because you were consumed with building yourself, would she feel abandoned, or would she feel proud that her man has purpose? The answer to that question reveals everything. A man without mission invites suspicion. A man with mission commands admiration. When you're not around, her mind asks, is he a man who leads himself or a man who needs me to lead him? Don't get it twisted. Women respect strength, not neediness. They may enjoy attention, but they desire stability. This is why Epictetus warned, if you want to improve, be content to be thoughtful and stupid, meaning, if your absence makes her question, endure it with dignity. Let your actions prove who you are. Don't beg to be seen as strong. Be strong. Remember, every silent test is an opportunity to show your depth, your discipline, and your devotion to your own path. The man who survives these tests doesn't just keep the woman. He earns her respect. And more importantly, he earns his own. Now, let me throw a hard question your way. When you're not around, is she wondering what you're doing? Or is she wondering if she's even worthy of keeping a man like you? Conclusion. Now, let's bring everything together. You've seen throughout this video what a woman truly feels when you're not around. It's not just about missing your smile, your voice, or your presence. It's about how your character echoes in her mind when you're gone. Does she think of you as the man who leads with purpose, strength, and calm authority? Or does she remember you as someone who gets easily shaken by life storms? This is where your true power lies. Women at their core respect and long for consistency. When you carry yourself like Marcus Aurelius advised, rooted in principle, not swayed by external chaos, she feels secure even in your absence. When you embody discipline like Epictetus taught, she feels admiration rather than doubt. Here's the raw truth. The way she feels when you're not around is the report card of your masculinity. If she feels peace, love, and admiration, you've done your job as a man. If she feels chaos, insecurity, or disinterest, it's a wake-up call to rise higher. So ask yourself, when you leave the room, do you leave behind trust or uncertainty? The answer defines the legacy of your relationships. Subscribe, stay sharp, and come back stronger.